months. I've been in this kid's life since they were 14. That's 6 years. 6 years of soccer games and curfew negotiations and sitting in parking lots at midnight because they texted me saying they didn't feel safe at a party. 6 years of being the person they called first when something went wrong. I never set out to be their dad. I was 28 when I met their mom. Kay was 14 and immediately made it clear they weren't looking for a father figure, and honestly, I respected that. We fell into something different, more like two people who genuinely liked each other and happened to share a living space. By the time they were 17, we were close in a way I didn't have a word for. Not parent and child, not just friends, something in between. Their mom, my wife, never really warmed to that dynamic. She's always had a complicated relationship with Kay, pushes them constantly, has this philosophy that struggle builds character, so she manufactures struggle wherever she can. She wanted Kay out of the house the second they turned 18. I said no. It's my house. I pay the mortgage. Kay pays a small amount of rent by their own choice, does their share around the house, holds down a job, goes to school. By any reasonable measure, they're doing fine. But my wife doesn't measure by reasonable standards. She measures by whether Kay is uncomfortable enough, whether they're being pushed hard enough, whether they're becoming the version of themselves she envisioned, which is not the version Kay actually is. Kay is non-binary. My wife doesn't accept that. She still uses the wrong pronouns deliberately, makes comments at the dinner table, acts like it's a phase or an attention grab. I've had that argument with her more times than I can count. It goes nowhere. She thinks I'm enabling Kay by not getting on board with her approach. I think she's causing real damage to her kid, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise just to keep the peace. So for the last year or so, the house has been tense. My wife travels frequently, sometimes weeks at a time, and when she's gone, things are calmer. Kay and I cook dinner together, watch whatever we're watching, talk. When my wife comes back, the atmosphere shifts within hours. She comes in already looking for something to criticize. I'd been questioning the marriage before Tuesday. That's important context. This wasn't a happy situation that got derailed. It was already derailed. I was already sleeping in the guest room some nights, already having the quiet internal conversation about whether this was fixable or whether I was just stalling. Tuesday, Kay asked if we could talk. They'd been quieter than usual for a few days. I noticed, but didn't push. When they finally sat down across from me, I could tell they'd been rehearsing this. They thanked me for how I handle things with their mom, said they knew it put strain on my marriage and they felt guilty about that. I gave them the same answer I always give, that this is their home and their mother's moods are not their responsibility. Then there was a pause, longer than normal, and they said it, not dramatically, actually really quietly, that they'd been feeling something they didn't fully understand for a while now, and they thought I should know, and they were in love with me. Not like family, not like a friend, they were in love with me. I didn't say anything for probably 30 seconds. I don't know what my face did. I was aware of the silence and couldn't fill it. Eventually, I said I needed time to process and that I wasn't going anywhere and we didn't have to talk about it again until I was ready. They nodded. We didn't hug. They went to their room. I sat there for another hour. 5 days ago. We've barely spoken since, but not in an obvious way. We're both going through the motions. Dinner, TV, brief exchanges about groceries or whatever's on. From the outside, it probably looks normal. From the inside, every interaction feels like we're both holding something fragile and neither of us wants to drop it. The intrusive thoughts started the next morning. Not what you'd expect. Not about them. About everything else. About my marriage being over regardless of what happens here. About whether I've been building something with Kay without realizing it and what that says about me. About whether removing myself is even possible and whether it would help or just hurt everyone more. About the fact that no matter what I decide, something breaks. I don't have a clean answer. I don't even have a direction. I just know I'm sitting in the middle of something I can't think my way out of, and the thoughts won't stop, and the house feels completely different now, and there's no version of next week that looks like last week did. That's where I'm at.